Okay, so this is a meeting, so we'll open the meeting for the Charter Committee for the Town of Rutland. October 30th, 6:35. Where we go. So first up on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes.
They were late today.
They were late to the shuffle. Did anybody get a, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
I will make a motion.
We have one, you have a second?
Second.
I don't think I read them, sorry.
You second? All right, we got a second. Sandra? Well, Barbara should be here. She's always usually here. I haven't heard from her either. So,
So she'll come in.
she'll probably be here. Any discussion on the minutes? Did everybody get a chance to review them?
It's okay to me.
I did review them. I'm fine with them. Okay. All right, so all in favor of accepting the minutes? Aye. Any nays? None? It's unanimous. Minutes accepted. Next up is the continue the discussion of the town charter.
Barbara's trying to Zoom.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
she's
good.
trying to zoom in.
All right. How do we,
Oh, she emailed me too.
Is she on your phone, just not on the screen here?
I got the email where she's saying.
Oh, she just got an
Yeah, I
email.
just read that down.
They'll let her in, won't they?
we should. Is anybody back there? The man behind the curtain? Hello?
Let Barbara in.
Let Barbara in, please. If you can hear this. Maybe they can.
I'll go over and I'll just knock on their door. They're right next door, right?
Nobody is in the Zoom.
Oh, she's not in there?
Oh, she's not? She said she,
No, not yet.
did she say she's in there?
A minute ago.
Trying to zoom into the meeting. All right, well, keep your eyes open. Someone's trying to get in right now.
Okay,
We'll
absolutely.
keep going, but thank you very much for that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she is trying, she just emailed us, she's trying to get in. She might be having some difficulties on her side, but
Okay, that's
should be
fine. We'll
popping
make
in.
sure that we can see like if anybody pops in on our end, so.
thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's the man behind the curtain.
That's him.
That's the man. All right. So we'll, we get started here, get discussion. I'm sure she'll jump in a few minutes. Okay, so just to kind of go over some things to continue on discussing. Anthony sent out some things this afternoon, some additional financial procedure provisions to review, and also the revised town charter of up to date, all the corrections we have with a few highlighted sections. I assume those you want to go through with us?
Correct. So, we've got, what I'm hoping to do today is we've got the charter which incorporates the things that we discussed at the last meeting, so
Yep.
those are the highlighted, I'll go through those.
Finalize those.
There are some provisions of the comparable charters, their financial sections that weren't included in the financial provision, the draft financial provision section. I actually don't necessarily recommend them, but I did want to present them to the committee, and if you want to have a discussion, if you think you want any of those things for Rutland, I just want to give you the opportunity to consider
Great.
those.
Yep.
And then we can start the discussion on the next section, which is the administrative reorganization section. And then I just wanted to tell everybody, sort of, you go to the last page of the draft charter, you've only got 4 articles left. Like, you guys are really sort of near the end here.
Okay.
So,
Great,
you know,
great.
good progress. So I will start with the draft charter. So if you go to section 2, let me make sure I got the right one, 3-4, powers and duties. So I highlighted this section, I kept it in there, but it's gonna be deleted, the 2, or D.
D and H, yep, D particularly, yep.
So D is gonna be deleted, so that's kind of going into the financial procedures, right? This now is covered by financial procedures.
Okay.
Where now we have the manager giving the budget to the finance committee making its recommendations, and then that all goes to the select board to be put on the warrant. So this is, first of all, it's covered in the financial procedures, and this is obviously different than the procedure laid out there, so it's gonna be deleted.
And
And
the
then,
board's all right with that, correct? We'll do with that. That's basically what we discussed, I remember last week.
and then H, there was a conversation amongst the board around making sure that if the administrator was vacant or absent for some reason, that whatever their responsibilities were throughout the charter, that the select board would take those things up during this period of vacancy. So that's, if you wanna tweak the language, we can, but that's sort of some language I put together around allowing that to happen.
That's kind of sort of. what happens anyway, isn't it?
It basically is built into it. This really, I mean, again, the beauty of this charter, you can put something in like this to make it simple, stupid, bold, bang, right in your face, like, that's what happens, you know, you don't have to go digging around looking, so.
And-
When it says the office of town administrator is vacant, we're assuming that that also means an interim town administrator as well? Is it,
No, if there's an interim in there, then they would,
that would be the office of
if
administrator,
there's no interim, if it's, the office is empty.
empty, okay.
Correct, and that's that second clause, and there is no other town official delegated or authorized to
Oh.
perform the town administrator's duties.
Thank
So
you.
there's a provision on the town administrator section where they can delegate some of the responsibilities to someone as needed. So it's assuming that whatever the responsibility is, there's no one to do them, and the select board doesn't.
Not to throw, just town manager, does that language have to go in there? I know we don't have one, I don't know.
I thought you chose to go with administrator.
Okay, cause that might came before me, before coming in the group and stuff, so I'm just curious if.
I have that, correct, we did, what you said is correct. I do have that on a list of things to maybe bring up to the town, you know, or the survey that we're gonna do at the end of this section.
Yeah.
Maybe shoot that out there, do you want the manager or, you know,
Didn't we discuss that, like?
Just in
Or the-
case,
or the
the future
administrator,
proof or
you know.
not.
We did, we
maybe.
discussed it, we were just gonna leave it when it's.
Administrator is what they
interchangeable,
said
right?
was the
Or
more
does
of
one
the
have a
term,
different-
right?
No,
Well,
this
administrator
dictates
is
what they do.
Okay.
administrator's a term
No, no, I
used
mean
in state
administrator
law,
versus
and it
manager.
actually
It's-
generally denotes
Manager
a
sounds a
weaker
little tougher.
type of
Administrator sounds like
position.
it's just a.
Administrator does.
Administrator does. Now, manager is not a
That's a
legally
yes.
defined term, so it's kind of something that just started to be made up in charters. But it has the connotation of an executive with more power than traditionally. So, you know, if you wanna put out in the world that we've got a strong centralized leadership position, then you might wanna go there. Now, I would say that it's balanced against, sometimes politically, that doesn't go over very well with the populace because it can kind of scare them to think about things changing or that centralized power. So I've seen places with the town administrator that has the town manager's authority, even though they don't have the title, if that makes sense.
And here in Rutland, would our town administrator technically have that authority?
The town administrator section that we put together is a strong town administrator.
Could
I mean,
we-
strongish, I would say strongish.
Strongish,
Yeah.
could we just, since manager is not a legal term, could we just, in our definition, say town administrator / manager? Could we just cover?
I'm okay with it the way it is too, I was
Okay.
just, I know sometimes there's a question of at some point if you adopt a town manager system, and does that even change the charter or not?
No, I mean, you're definitely moving in the your charter has definitely given some authority to the town administrator that makes them really a strong position. I would think, and Becca can speak to this. The one thing that I guess I would say is that in terms of marketing the position, in terms of like, I wanna attract the best people, you may get looked over, cause people first see town administrator and think, oh, okay, I won't even read the job description because that's not what I'm looking for. I don't know if you have anything, or I think maybe you said the last meeting that people know in Massachusetts.
I think, yeah, I think experienced managers and administrators in Massachusetts know that the title does not necessarily define the role. That the role is defined by charter typically. The charter is what
The
defines the
details in
role.
the devil, yeah.
And so the reason that we don't really push for the change in title, even if what you've defined is closer to what is typically referred to as a town manager, is like Anthony said, those political considerations in terms of, you know, is it gonna hold up the whole charter? Like, you don't wanna hold up the whole
Yeah.
charter
Over
and get hung
technicality
up
of the
over-
manager,
right.
of a name of a role.
So
title
it's really,
role.
I actually think that including it in a survey is a really good idea, so you can get a pulse
Yeah,
and sort of determine, do we even wanna go
cause then if it's
there?
not an issue with the town, then we
It's
just
not an issue, maybe you
leave it in
do.
the ground, leave it under the gravestone.
Do we want to call our town administrator a town manager? It doesn't change our form of government, it
Correct. Just the title.
just,
It's just a title, yep.
yeah, so that's a perfect thing for.
And I believe, if we talked about also, a lot of the bylaw language says town administrator.
No matter what.
So you're kinda keeping in sync with all these bylaws that have been built around that position. Yeah, cause it's new to our town the last 5-10 years.
Yeah,
We've never called it a manager, it's always been an administrator. So. Okay,
thank you, sorry.
yeah, so I think we're all good with that. Everybody good with the language and the way that's written on H? We're all good there, okay? All right, Anthony?
So bouncing down to the finance committees, Article 6, I'm gonna go to 6-5. So I highlighted, so A and B is the language that's currently, was in your bylaw that I kind of moved over to the charter. So we, again, we generally recommend against this type of process, so this whole thing around, there will be a process for removing, committee members don't have the right to a hearing and some other things. We generally recommend sort of making it that hard and sort of giving people extra rights that may not be that necessary. So what I propose, again, the committee can reject it, is that rather than that process, to say that the moderator may remove a member during their term, as long as they file a notice of removal with the town clerk, and then the select board has the ability to reject the removal within 30 days, or whatever time period. So that way, it's not just someone abusing their power and potentially for the moderator or something, there is still a check, but you don't open yourself up to like something that looks akin to something that should be in your personnel policy, rather than just this is a
Okay.
volunteer
Yeah.
who may or may not be
Yeah,
doing
because as these are volunteers,
Yeah.
they're not paid positions where, you're contracted to do something, signed up legally.
Do we have something in any other, we don't have a process for removing any other board member, do we, anywhere?
I think there's something about a select board member, I thought there was something.
For select board, but not
But
for,
not the rest
not
of
for
us.
appointed volunteer boards.
No,
Now, when we
for-
get to general provisions, we might put a catch-all, there's catch-all provisions that go in there around. But again, particularly for appointed volunteer boards, we recommend against any sort of
Official.
substantial process.
Treating them like an employee.
Exactly.
I thought it had
Basically is what you're
something to
saying,
do with,
we-
like, if you
we don't wanna
miss
go and open
meetings
that
or something
can.
like
Yeah.
that, but-
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
a
would
good
be-
point.
That would probably be like if Chris said, this person is really not working out on our board, he would go to the select board who did appoint us, and you would say, we need to, why would finance be any different? Because they're not elected.
Correct, and we should, consistency is always king, right? When
Yes.
you talk about managing people in different departments, you wanna treat all, like Anthony said, the classification of, volunteer people should have the same, one group should not be above the other,
Right,
generally speaking, certainly, so.
I agree,
I certainly agree with
yes.
where you're going with that. Is the board pretty much generally all good with that?
Yes.
And then you'll
Keith,
notice.
you're good with that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it seems like the moderator can do the removal
Mhm.
for the finance committee, so.
He appoints the
He appoints
moderator.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's something there, I guess. But yeah, no comment really on that. I'm okay with it.
And then you may notice that that section jumps from 6-2 to 6-5. There were two sections in the previous version. In my estimation, those should stay in the bylaw or wherever,
I agree.
they're too detailed for the charter, but again, that's up to the committee, but
Yeah, I believe we agreed to that last week.
I
put it in. Thank you. There you go, it's got it. Okay,
So then we jump down to 7-1. So the sort of major change here is, I had before language around the fiscal year being determined by state statute, but to keep it consistent with the charter, I said the fiscal year begins with the first day of July, which is used in other places in the charter around when the budget's submitted and other things. So I think that was the will of the committee.
that's very straightforward and simple, again, like that. Everybody good with that? Okay, and again, if anybody doesn't, just speak up, or if you wanna go back to it, please, by all means, but we'll just keep rolling along here for you. Okay,
And then as we discussed before, we changed.
Wait,
Oh,
let me-
sorry.
What is the fiscal year of the town, what is the fiscal year of the town right now?
July 1 to June
It
30th.
is July 1, okay, perfect. Then we're good,
Yeah, we're not changing it, we're just
right,
wording it,
perfect,
get the
okay.
language
I
right.
might have missed that one.
And then, so 7-2A1, I'll just sort of walk through this, we kind of said it already, but, so by the first, and I think maybe you guys were gonna do some investigation if these dates work, but what we have here is the first Monday in February, the town administrator shall submit the budget for the next fiscal year to the finance committee for review. So administrative finance committee, this finance committee will produce its review and recommendations. And then, and also the finance committee, the next line, will be doing a public hearing prior to sending these, so it'll have a hearing with the public to hear from them. And then the finance committee will give the budget to the administrator, and a copy to the Board of Selectmen to appear on the warrant, and that has to be done by the first Monday in April. And I believe the budget, the town meeting, we had the town, I have to go back up to the top, so you go back to 2-4A, the springtime meeting shall be held each year on the Saturday preceding the second Monday in May. So you've got about 2 months between that date and when the town meeting should happen. So I think that's what we discussed.
Good 2 months, yeah.
Yeah,
That 9-week window.
yeah. And so
That would
that's,
give them time to get the warrant out there. Yep.
so I just wanna make sure that I sort of let you know, so that's what sort of you guys had discussed, and so we incorporated that there. And then, jump down here. Becca, I don't know if you could talk to it, but she added, there was a language around giving the finance committee the right of first amendment, so that is
See that, see there, section C?
correct.
Yep.
And then actually, Becca, I'm probably putting you on the spot, I'll turn over 7-3 to you to discuss. That is your capital planning committee from the bylaws. We put some stuff over here. Now, I think there can be a discussion about if all of this detail needs to be in here, and just confirming, so it is that $10,000
Yeah,
that
it
we
is.
talked about.
Yep, yep.
But maybe you could talk about sort of some of the important things that the committee should think about this section.
Anthony, one question, going back to C, do we have to put that into the town meeting, that the finance committee has that right of First Amendment? It back in like the moderator section or anything like that for him to
No.
deal with, or this does enough?
Yeah, I would think that would be redundant, but I mean, the town administrator definitely should be aware that this is a change that affects how they run the town meeting.
Exactly.
Because no matter what they wanna do, I'm always wanting to say he, but it's he or she. Well, no matter what they wanna do, this finance committee gets first crack at the budget and saying what they wanna say on that item.
I think at the last meeting, somebody mentioned that does already happen.
It does, Becca, it's
Yeah.
pretty much, they get up there, they, say nay or indifferent, and they usually make comments about it, or.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there's a right of first amendment technically, but they do make those amendments sometimes, so it does go right to them from the moderator, so it's not an earth-shattering thing yet.
Yeah, now it's locked in the charter. So.
Exactly.
And I just got a question, so, and you guys, you're talking about letter C under 7.2,
Yes.
does it need to like say with or without amendments by FinCom, or is that just like in general, they get the first shot?
Yeah, did you see that section?
And then,
Wanna read that? Is that the old one, or is that the new one?
I don't know.
This is the one he sent out tonight, so he added that in there.
Oh,
It adds in
okay,
this-
it
they
says
make the
say finance
comment.
committee, okay. No, I printed this, probably 2 hours before that one, okay. So that makes sense, so it does say by FinCom.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Beck.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
If
So,
everybody's good with that.
Yeah.
Section 7.3 is, the capital planning committee section. And last week, or 2 weeks ago, when you last met, you all had mentioned that the town, I think recently, created a capital improvement bylaw. And so the language that we dropped into the charter is explicitly what is currently the capital improvement planning committee bylaw. A few things about this, so I think that sort of enshrining the existence of a capital planning committee in the charter makes sense. You wanna make sure that there is a body that oversees that process and make sure that that process happens. That's really the most important piece, is that the capital planning process is happening and that somebody is responsible for it. Who the members are responsible for it, how long they serve for, if they should belong to, if they represent another committee, who they're appointed by, those are all important things. The level of detail in the bylaw, I don't necessarily think needs to all be included in the charter. And I'm particularly talking about the definition of a capital project, the dollar threshold of a capital project. Yes, you need to define capital projects, and typically those definitions are attached to a threshold.
Are they in the definition?
They're in the
So they're in-
section right
Yeah,
now.
if you look at the second paragraph, that's kind of unless I'm misreading,
No,
that's,
That's what
That's the
that's
definition
what
of-
Becky was talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah, so the second paragraph reads, the committee shall study proposed capital projects and improvements involving major non-recurring tangible assets and projects which, so I would probably end the sentence there,
After project's done.
right there. It goes on to specify how often they're purchased, that they have a useful life of 5 years, and that they cost at least $10,000.
What you're saying is all in the bylaws right now.
I would keep that level of specificity in the bylaw. And the bylaw,
Then it gives us the ability to change that
more flexibility,
and be able to react to any economical changes that the town may
right.
get hit with out of nowhere, which
Correct.
It
this does
happens.
happen to Rutland because we're not a very affluent town.
Right.
You have to be able to make a
Yeah.
little quick turn here, you know?
So I think we would suggest sort of paring down this, keep the bylaw as is, and we can reference the bylaw in the charter. We can reference that there's a capital improvement
Projects
bylaw.
as per the bylaw.
And that way, people wanna know what exactly are the specific provisions, they can read the bylaw, and the bylaw can change with a lot more flexibility than the charter
I think
can.
it's a great idea personally.
Okay,
How's the board think of that?
Exactly,
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you, Becca.
So just that, the committee shall study proposed capital projects and improvements involving major non-recurring tangible assets and projects, period. Is that
Period.
what we're saying? Okay.
That's correct. They'll take the
yeah, you
rest of that out.
keep the first
Or
paragraph,
in conjunction with the bylaws.
Yeah.
Something to that effect, that it just would send you to the bylaws after projects, so you know to go manage it through there.
yeah, we can draft, we'll draft
Yeah,
up
you
some
can,
new
you
language
guys know
and
what to
then
do,
we
you've,
can,
yeah, you're
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
experts.
something like and project as defined by the cap, it'd be something like that, yeah.
We know you get to touch that.
So the whole rest of that section will be gone, and
That
essentially,
paragraph.
Oh, that paragraph.
just that paragraph, okay?
Yeah, well, I think,
I mean, maybe the next paragraph goes to,
yeah, I mean,
look,
I think a lot of this,
I would, if I could jump in, Becca,
Yeah,
and
go
again,
ahead, of course.
Sometimes we don't always see the same way, but it's ultimately what you guys said. I think I would keep the stuff about the annual report. I wouldn't keep all the stuff in there about the process, about all the groups that they have to talk to, but I would keep the annual report in here, as well as the list of articles. I
'Cause
don't
again-
know, I'd love your opinion on the last paragraph with the list of articles, but I would keep the annual report, and I'm actually.
how to do the reports in the bylaws, right, Anthony?
Exactly,
Yeah,
like
so-
how they do it can be defined in
And
the
then let them
bylaws.
change that as they need to, year by year, as things change again.
Yeah,
Well, we're just saying that the report.
yeah,
You just gotta do the report.
We don't
Exactly.
care how you do it.
But
exactly.
you can change how you do that year to year through the bylaws or whatever, but.
yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, people are always coming up with new tools to budget with, and, now
Yeah.
people are all into virtual budgeting, so you don't wanna tie, a committee to something.
To a 10-year process.
Right. So I think that makes, I don't disagree with,
Yeah.
with what you said, so.
Okay,
So essentially, all those paragraphs following will be gone until we get to prepare an annual report.
Correct.
Oh, hey, Barbara.
welcome. The Zoom just couldn't get
I
in?
couldn't figure it out, so I
Wow.
got my card.
You don't have to, you were at the concert?
Yeah.
I love this concert, I don't know.
Yeah. It's distracting though, I'm
Oh,
like
okay.
singing, like, alright, shut the door.
I'm sorry.
Who's it on the table? You can grab it on the table.
Yeah, you guys need a table there, Keith?
Yeah.
Scooch on over.
No,
we got plenty
I
of
can
room.
snuggle with Chris.
Over here hogging the table, I'm thinking about scooching myself. I will, you're fine.
We got one pointed out.
Me too, Barbara, me too. Come on in. I
At
don't
least you got the
think I
edges.
said it.
So Barbara, just to recap, we've gone through some of the changes that Anthony has made in the charter. Some of the highlights have been, I don't know if you had a chance to look at his revised charter that he sent out today. And there's some highlighted sections, a couple of the sections on section 2. And most of the things we had talked about last, and then we're just going through the capital planning committee section right now. The biggest part here is, it gets into a lot of detail. A lot of this has just been taken right out of the bylaws and put into here. And like one of the examples they gave, in the second paragraph, the committee shall propose projects and improve involving major non-recurring tangible assets and projects which are purchased or undertaken at intervals of not less than, we're just gonna simplify the projects. Like, we're not gonna tell them, different dollar amounts and things like that. We wanna leave that in the bylaws to give them flexibility to change them on a yearly basis as they see fit. But the fact that, those projects are done through this committee. Reports are done through this committee, but not telling them how to do the report, what departments and all the detail. So simplify, just take a lot of the detail out of this, but just get the report done a year every year. So a few of the things we just discussed.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm looking at an old version of the draft and it has 7 members and a lot more detail, like $10,000, $25,000 versus,
That got tweaked before.
so the bylaw has changed.
No, that was sample language.
That was sample language.
Oh.
I didn't, so what happened is I put
Perfect.
some language in that I found that I thought was appropriate. And then we had a discussion that you guys have the bylaw. And then Becca actually took the bylaw and put the parts in.
Okay, perfect. So the current one that we're viewing is
The revised bylaw, that it's basically today's version of this revised charter. Okay, that you're looking at right now, the draft, and that Anthony sent out today, okay?
Got it.
And I know there's a lot of drafts around. It should have today's date on it.
It did.
Yeah, I'm looking
it
at
does.
today, I'm looking at today's date. I'm just confused because today's date one has a lower threshold than the old.
Yeah,
But we're taking the
Anthony's,
threshold out anyways.
yeah,
Which
No, in
is-
terms of, I think you mean in terms of the membership, the size of the.
Yeah, the size of the board as well.
yeah, but you weren't referencing anything
I wasn't
that had to do
referencing
with
anything Rutland,
He
yeah.
just put some
Wing it.
sample
On
language.
today's,
No.
oh,
On the
on the
older
old
one.
one.
On the old one,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
Don't even look at that. Okay, perfect.
Okay, anything else on the capital planning committee?
So that's it on really this whole section. You know, we talked about really all the other sections at the last meeting, I think, unless you guys wanna go back to anything. The next thing I would do is, I'm gonna pull up I could get into the Zoom and share my thing on here, I guess, but there's the other document with the various provisions that aren't in your charter that I just wanna make the committee aware of.
These additional financial procedures?
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
okay, let's go through these next.
So,
Did everybody, you guys see those? That was the other attachment you
Do
sent
have
out?
that.
I printed it.
Did you see these?
Sandra, you can look at mine if you want. Oh, you have to.
Maybe.
Different sections from some other.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, middle starts with middle.
so I'll just start with that we,
Thank you.
for most of these, don't really have strong opinions really one way or the other. But because they're in your comparators, I just wanted to bring them to your attention. So we've got the town sort of black, or bold with underlines, and then if you wanna look up the sections yourselves where they are, the section, but I have the excerpts of sort of where they are. So I'll just go through these sort of relatively quickly. Emergency appropriations, I'll sort of read the important parts, which is, I guess there's an emergency affecting the health and safety of the community, and to the extent that, you need to go beyond, some department needs to go beyond the appropriation from the town meeting, they're allowed to do that. Now, under state law, that's already permitted, and there's a whole bunch of mechanics around the governor declaring an emergency and all this stuff. And this section already, it does that, subject to the provisions of GO 44, section 31. That is the section around when a municipal department can exceed its appropriation, and then what the remedy is to sort of get everything back in line. It's a rare, unique circumstance. I don't know too many times when this happened recently.
COVID.
Yeah, okay.
Becca's like.
so
But, well, COVID, yes, but COVID was a statewide one, 2008 when we had the ice storm in December. It really was just a town-wide thing, and in situations like that, where you have a small tornado or town, not always the governor or the state level will give you the financial level of emergency status.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Where
If
this
a
almost-
tornado hits the town,
Right.
the select board can say, we're gonna pay for it.
Exactly, and the select board can almost create their own emergency status within the town if the state won't help you or declare it.
What do we do now in those
Now,
cases?
one question, excuse me, one
Yeah,
second, hold
sure,
that thought.
sure.
One question I have for you, Anthony, is that I know if the state does not declare a disaster or whatever, emergency, that sometimes FEMA and other places like that don't provide funds to those towns that were damaged. Now, if a town has that ability, does that affect a federal level, do you know?
No, I don't think you have the legal ability
To
to
jump
declare
that.
an emergency in the same way that the governor could. Now, I'll sort of turn over to Beck in terms of the financial mechanics or perhaps the operational issues, if you wanna say anything about it. I have like no opinion on this section per se. I don't know if you have any thoughts that they should be thinking about if they wanna include that in their stuff.
I mean, my main thought is that it's covered in current statute. current Mass General law, and it's referencing the law, so it's not offering you anything more, any additional authority besides what's already granted in the law. So it's almost, the language in here is a little bit duplicative, cause right now, Rutland can, in the event of a state of emergency, as long as it's declared by the governor and the town, can exceed appropriations to address emergencies. So there's not really, you're kind of just repeating what is already allowed, I guess.
So,
Does-
so putting
Would
it in
there
the
be
charter would essentially just let everybody know that they can do that.
Exactly, does it
Yeah.
provide a level of information, education almost, that, hey, cause in a time of crisis,
When, was it Clinton that flooded?
Yeah.
Was it Clinton that
That
flooded a
was
few
still
years
recently
ago?
flooded.
Did the governor declare that an emergency? Like,
I don't
would
think
it
he
be
did.
that?
but all that flooding was up in Leominster and a lot of
Yeah.
those places.
Like,
That-
that's what-
That was
like,
what I was referencing,
Is
because
it
they
that?
did not get the status from the governor,
Yeah,
and they were unable to get funds from FEMA and go to the federal level to help them, and they were in a pickle for a while there. Now, for a good 6 months, it did not get declared.
right.
I don't know if anything got back done to help them out, but they were in a bind up there for a while.
Would that be something that,
Costly.
if that were put in, no, cause it's gotta be the
The
two,
governor-
the town
Has to
and
come
the
from the
governor.
state.
And again, you, cause I mean, I don't know all the financial
That's too bad.
mechanics, but I mean, regardless, you still do all the same financial stuff, and so you can get in trouble with like DOR and stuff around like, right,
Well, this, yeah,
overexpending
I
and
mean,
stuff.
this,
Yeah.
what this is referring to is a very specific situation,
Okay.
right? It's a state of emergency, it's been declared by the governor and it's been declared by the select board, and it allows the select board to spend
Above,
appropriation beyond what has been allocated by town meeting. So
okay,
it's not that you can't spend money in an emergency locally, but you have to have the money allocated by the legislative body, which is town meeting. So you have an extra step. This says the select board can do it when the governor has declared it. In the event that it's just a local issue, like major town flooding, you need money, you need,
You still need the
You
governor's
need-
declaration of an emergency to enact
Okay.
on
For the
the
select-
state law right now.
Yeah, and even under this provision, cause it's subject to the
doesn't change
provisions
that.
of state
Gotcha.
law.
Yeah.
right.
but that's what I'm, yeah,
So
this
in-
doesn't nudge to say, oh, okay, it's in your charter, okay. It doesn't do,
In
like
the-
for the governor to say, okay, fine,
Yeah, no, it's just, again, it's just
Okay.
an informative educational piece.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, if this is tied to the governor's state of emergency, then most likely the FEMA will be able to backload these funds that were used for whatever emergency,
That's the
was needed.
thought, is that the
you know.
spending that occurs will be repaid.
Most
in the
likely,
event
right,
of-
Becker? I mean, you're gonna
That's
get the lion's
theory
share, and I would imagine.
of the law.
You
In
know,
the
yeah.
event that there's
In that
no
event.
state.
theory of
You
the
know,
law, I like that.
Because in the event of that
That's
disaster
what we wanna
emergency,
write
the
it,
governor's
so it
declared
does
it.
happen.
'Cause the
In the
governor-
event that there's no state of emergency, we would have to call a town meeting, emergency town meeting anyway.
Special, yep.
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
have to call a special, but that's neither here nor there, that's not, that's,
We've
that,
got some
this
interesting
doesn't-
weather up here, I'm gonna be honest
This
with
I
you.
know, that's what I mean, like,
This
it
doesn't
just
address
happened
that.
a couple
Yeah.
years ago.
Well,
it's-
so we're already covered under state law.
every night
It
we
doesn't
meet, yeah.
address
Interesting weather.
But it keeps it, you know,
people.
this is just
know.
my opinion, I'm kinda like Anthony, I'm indifferent to it, Becca stated it's the law. But sometimes, as a leader, when you're in a situation and proverbial what hits the fan, the more information and education you have quicker at your fingertips, because if you're not practiced to deal with things in that moment,
Yeah,
these little things, hey, I saw this, it just might make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't hurt nobody, I think it could be a little helpful to the leadership to make a jump a little quicker to help the town prevent
It's not-
further damage or spending if we're able to use funds to stop the bleeding, so to speak, whatever the problem may be.
It's not changing anything that already exists, it's just
Exactly.
letting everybody know that it's.
It's just giving them,
Yeah.
it's just letting them access it or maybe see
we're
it,
not
think about it a
doing
little quicker.
anything, like, no, it's right here,
Yeah,
we
we're
are.
not changing anything, we're
Yeah.
just trying to help the leadership react a little quicker with a
Yeah.
little more information. I don't think, in that regard, I would say put it in, but I'm indifferent, I'll do whatever you folks
I
want.
say put it.
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Where would you put that in there?
I would just add it, it would be
Like
just
a
an additional
In
section.
the
after
finance-
7-6 or whatever.
Under finance, yeah.
Amend charter, okay. So what I heard was added to the charter.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, Anthony, thank you.
So this is actually, section 7 is actually, a version of this will also show up again later in this list of things. But it's just about making all the financial stuff public, right? It's all public records anyway, but it's basically saying that the documents will be available if somebody wants to pick up at the clerk's office or about the town administrator's office. Now, my note here is that this is already covered under 7-1 of the draft charter, although it's not its own section. It's part of the initiating section of the financial procedure section. So after we define the fiscal year, the next sentence is the budget, this is in the draft charter, so 7-1 of the draft charter. After the highlighted fiscal year sentence, the budget and capital improvement programs shall be public records and copies shall be kept available for inspection at the office of the town clerk. Another distinction is that other one offers at the town administrator's office. I think for the public, the town clerk probably makes more sense, but, you know, I sort of open that up to you guys to see what you wanna do.
They're gonna go talk to Amita first anyway.
What's that?
They're gonna go see the clerk anyway. Before the town administrator, I think. I don't think,
Sometimes it's who you know too, right? You know.
I don't think we need that.
I'm indifferent,
I guess I'm indifferent too, I just
Yeah, I
don't-
would just
if we're
leave it
already
as-
writing it,
I would just leave it as we have in the draft, right, at the town clerk. Everybody knows to go to the town clerk for everything, right? Is that, that's where I would go, I would just,
and I'm not sure you want everybody kinda going after the town administrator. I mean,
they're gonna do that anyway.
yeah,
if they want to, yeah, right.
and the town administrator would say,
Go see the clerk.
See the town
clerk, it's
Right.
here.
I mean, I honestly,
I mean-
I would be surprised if the town administrator's office didn't say, oh yeah, we can give you a copy of the budget, like, they're creating it. You know what I mean, and
Right.
Yeah.
they're the one administering it, so they would have copies
It's,
anyway.
it's interesting too, because this language, not more than 20 days after their adoption, technically somebody can show up on day one and ask for it, and it's a public record.
After it's been
Should-
You
adopted by
have
the
to
town
provide
meeting,
it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know, it's kind, it seems duplicative.
Alright, yeah. So scrub that then.
It's just a regular town record.
All in favor of scrubbing it?
Screw it.
Yeah, not necessary.
So the next one, section of 7-11 in the Middleton Charter, I'll read this one because I think it's interesting. In addition to the prohibitions prescribed by law, the submission of a bid by any compensated town officer or employee on any contract to be awarded by the town shall serve to vacate the officer's or employee's office. So if you're an elected or appointed official, you lose your office if you submit a bid on any a town contract unless otherwise authorized by general law. So I have the one caution here is I feel like, you know, your ethics provision is very robust. The state ethics provision.
Yeah.
Now, what it doesn't do is automatically sort of vacate someone's seat, and there's often the litigation around like, do they lose their seat when they are convicted, or, you know, all these other things.
I see, yeah,
some
yeah,
sort
you
of
gotta get to the
fraud.
court process and that long drawn out process.
Yeah, and also, you know, now this is protect itself unless authorized by general law, because there could be situations where the law permits
Sure.
so and so. So I'll stop there and just in terms of, and then Becca, I do want you to sort of give your thoughts on it too, because you have some good thoughts on the 7-11.
No, I mean, you know, this is like immediate enforceability, kind of, like, whereas if you didn't have this language and this situation happened, you would have to wait for a legal process to take place, somebody would have to go to ethics, file a complaint, and you'd have to wait for that process to play out technically before you can, you know, take any action for, specifically for employees, right, cause they're owed due process, but also appointed board members, you know, you would
Sure.
have that same, so, I mean, this is actually pretty unique, I haven't seen a lot of this.
It is.
And I don't necessarily, I mean, my opinion, I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's really,
Well, we won't even, if considering we said you can't be an elected person and then be on like one of these,
Can't be on the
why would you
payroll.
be able, why
Yeah.
would you be able to
Yeah.
put a bid for your,
Is this automatic? So for
Yeah.
instance,
like I
is
can't.
this just something that the select board or somebody can enforce? Or is this, if it's done, you're automatically out, you lose your spot, no questions asked?
So it reads like automatic.
It does.
Yeah.
But I would
It
say
does.
probably in practice, I could see people fighting it, right, until
Yeah.
you get a court decision that says, yeah, but I think what would happen, the world I imagine it is like, I receive back pay, or or if I'm an elected official, like I was a member of that board or whatever, and then you get backdated, where this says, I kind of think this sort of makes it easier to say, no, you were no longer in your position as of whatever the date is signed on your submission bid, right? The bid of your, so you weren't entitled to any pay as of this exact confirmed date,
Yeah,
you know?
And the way I read this also is that it's on the submission of the bid, not awarded of the contract.
right.
So you might not even get the contract,
You don't get to roll the dice.
but you submit the
yeah.
bid, you throw your hat in the ring,
Yeah.
somebody might have beaten you, but you get bounced.
Can somebody give me an example?
Because that
Alright,
would be
so for
unethical. I
instance,
know, I can't wrap my head around why you would do that.
Alright, so I'm an
yeah.
electrician, okay?
Yeah.
I own my own business, and I'm on the select board.
Mm-hmm.
And the town puts out an RFQ,
Actually, you're on this board, how about that? You're just
Okay.
on this board.
okay, and I'm his own board. So the town puts out an RFQ to put a brand new electrical service in one of the schools or one of the town buildings, okay? And it's a $50,000 job. Yeah, I go through the process, file sub bid, I got my DCAM certification, I filed my sub bid, my bid bond, all that stuff. Once I submit my bid, now, they're sealed bids, so 7 electricians put their bids in, no guarantee I'm gonna get it. But once I put that bid in, I can get bounced.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing to that thing, Chris,
Yep.
it's only for an
Elected.
compensated position.
Compensated
Only a
position.
This is a
Compensated.
So not
volunteer,
this
so he
position.
could do that, yeah,
Okay,
this is
oh,
volunteer.
a consultated
The
town
select
official.
board.
Interesting.
But-
Yeah.
It's
But again, I
Yeah.
would think that goes along with the ethics, the code of ethics
I
and,
mean, it is covered under the
what's that
ethics law,
other
he's
one?
How
not,
does that
suppo-
work
like somebody
when,
like Chris
like, a
is
select board
not supposed to
It's a stipend.
as a paid,
they don't.
He's
Select board is a
paid.
paid position with a stipend, excuse me, not
Oh,
to.
no.
But the
sorry.
stipend can be, but they can regularly vote to not get their stipend, like they did
And
last
increase
year
their
and this year.
stipends.
A member of select board could file a
You know what I mean? If so, if
Yeah,
they
I
pass
think
a
it's
vote
a-
to
I
say-
believe it's a
Oh,
paid
if they give it
position,
up.
and it's an elected position too.
But I think it's more because it's
You're
elected.
you're an elected position or, we'll ask these, hold your thought, Barbara, please, I wanna go back to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't think on like a contract, but they could vote on something different, not on a bidding on a contract though. I think you're,
should we just
Formally
skip
bring it.
this then, cause it seems like
Think.
maybe Middleton was having some sort of problem that they, yeah,
What
that,
happened?
So it's
that
not
what
just-
happened in Middleton,
Should
that
stay
they
in
felt the
Middleton.
need to.
You know what I can see is I can see
Yeah.
certain people,
No, because
Yes.
I think this belongs in this town as well.
Yeah,
I can see
I-
people trying to get on the
Mhm.
planning board to get by.
but that's not a compensated
ethics
position.
would-
Oh, it is a
It is,
compen,
they
it
have
could be,
stipends too, I think, right, planning board?
So is the select board considered a paid position, or is this elected and paid positions, or just paid positions?
this says just paid position. Now, again, you guys aren't actually locked into this language, you're going to tweak it. But I'm presenting just the language, the concept to you. This applies to paid positions regardless of whether they're elected or appointed.
Okay.
so we could
A
say,
stipend that can
any
come
board
and go,
member.
is that,
I would think that would be considered paid,
okay,
yeah,
could we
compensated.
say any,
All select boards are
Board
not
member.
paid, I mean, at some point in the future, they could say, you know, Rutland could say, we don't wanna pay our select board, you could do that, then they would move to the uncompensated category, whenever that took effect.
I mean, I'm trying to see a conflict of interest here in all fairness, okay?
conflict of interest, that's
If
it,
if
yeah.
I am a contractor, just like any one of you 7, and I'm here, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Some of these ethics laws prevent people that actually live in towns and may actually be somebody that has the town at their best of heart and interest. If they're a good ethical person and have good moral compass, okay? Not everybody does, but if you do have that person, that's the man or woman's company you want here
right.
Yeah.
taking care of the town. No one loves that town more than someone here if they've got that.
Totally with you, but.
So,
Yeah.
but,
There's also that
but there's the
one
other
guy-
guy that's gonna
I know,
just
yeah.
waste the town
I mean,
and
Yeah.
basically,
rifle
like,
you
Which is
the
back.
why I'm like,
ethics,
yeah.
the
No, this-
ethics laws
Prevent that.
prevent, like you, from,
Nepotism and-
even though you're not a competent, they already prevent you from submitting a bid in town, correct? Is that,
No, I can submit.
oh,
that.
you can, even though you're even though,
I'm not a compensated,
okay, I wasn't sure if like.
I'm just on the zoning board at this time.
Right, okay, I wasn't
I mean,
sure.
I would say, I wouldn't get too, again, if you wanna put it in, you can, I would say, I wouldn't get too fixated on it, like, cause not having this, there is the state ethics law, so it's not like you've opened the floodgates to the Mongols or whatever, like,
Exactly.
you know, but if you want it, you can, but, you know.
You know, and think of it from a different position.
Yeah.
Barbara,
Michelle,
I'm sorry, Michelle.
We've only
You
been
know,
meeting for.
being on the zoning board
right. I
is
didn't know.
a big difference between someone who runs the DPW
Right,
and, wait a minute, this guy's a paid guy.
Yeah.
He's gonna get the contract to fix the sewer.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute here, or his son is gonna get the
Right.
like that's when you start getting to
right,
nepotism.
and that's already
and-
covered though,
and
under.
exactly, that stuff's there, so
Okay.
I think the paid position is very important here.
Yeah.
You know, the fire chief should not be getting a kickback on the new fire truck, you know, for instance, shouldn't have his other part company. For instance, there's a fire chief that runs the radio communications. So if I'm gonna, you know, the two-way radio, so if I'm gonna put that, I run this business as a fire chief on the side, I shouldn't be bidding on my own town. Like that's legitimate, I get that,
Yeah.
okay? You know, he's compensating himself with the town's money, hold on, you know.
Is the MGL, is that, the ethics, is that, does it say the same submission of a bid, or it just says like, don't,
I would just say with the caveat, I'm not an expert, like, it's an in-depth, the state ethics law is large, you know, and it covers,
Yeah.
it tries its best to be comprehensive, so I'm not an expert. I don't know, the short answer is I don't know, but it's, the state ethics law is pretty comprehensive in terms of holding people accountable when they have essentially self-dealt. If they've, and really behind all of this really is this idea that you've got some special privilege, other qualified bidders or people, and you abuse your position to get an edge.
yeah,
So that's what's behind all of it. The state ethics law definitely just deals with that concept
Okay.
in a comprehensive way.
to get that financial,
So I like this and I don't like this. As an owner of a company and, you know, managing people, I think it's great to have things that you can just like cut to the quick,
Yeah.
get to it and be done with it, right?
yeah,
But I'm also afraid of perhaps limiting the town from getting a service that it could use from somebody. But again, the ethics laws keep that in check. The thing that's, you know, this to me, it is automatic because it says the town, you know, awarded by the town shall serve to vacate. So once I've put that bid in, I'm vacating my position. It's not saying that the town administrator can remove that person from their position.
right.
It's stating that you're vacating it, like you're willingly.
You're removing
This action,
yourself
I am
from-
willingly doing, so I just want everybody on the board to understand, the way this is written, it's an automatic willful consent to be relieved of my position. Now, if anybody does, I don't know, you gotta admit to it, or someone's gotta catch you, and it's still, like, there's gotta be a mechanism to, you know, you either gotta, if you're corrupt, you're not gonna offer yourself up. I mean, honestly, you gotta wait till somebody catches you,
Right,
right? I
right.
mean, think about it, to catch a crook, you gotta think like one
Oh,
of
they're
them,
gonna open the
right?
bids and be like, oh.
So, if I am trying to be deceitful, I'm not gonna say,
I'm leaving,
yeah, you know, so.
I guess the only way to be fair or be, you know, a nice guy would be you'd have to provide a donation to the town and not really do the work, you just have to pay for it. You know, right? That would be the only legal way to, and I'm not saying we should get into deep into ethics.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, cause there are exceptions for certain things, like, you know, even around like the one that I've dealt with most frequently, it kinda goes away from this, but, you know, you're on the select board or a city council or something, and you have to vote on something, maybe buying a piece of property or something, and you have a financial interest in it somehow.
Yeah.
So generally, you would recuse yourself, but the state law, again, I said the ethics law is comprehensive. It says if you don't have enough people to meet the minimum votes or all this stuff, then the person can make a disclosure and still participate in the vote.
True.
Because you don't, you know, boards are small, sometimes they have bad attendance, so they've got a lot of caveats.
It's a good point for this town too.
Yeah.
That's a good point for this town. You know, it's not like we gotta beat down the doors here to
Well,
line up and.
You could always say unless otherwise authorized by general law or at, not town meeting, but like a select board.
by, you know, cause I mean, like, honestly,
Like full disclosure, as long as it's full disclosure, and then it could go on whatever and you know, just a regular town meeting. And then if anybody was opposed to it, they could
here's a perfect example.
say their
Over the
piece.
summertime, this board I'm on, this facility, this institution has a building. 2 weeks before, you know, they have a fire alarm system, water leak, fire alarm blows up. They hire me to do it. Now, once a year, I sign a thing that I may receive financial payment as a board member on this institution, okay? Now, in this situation, I still donated some labor, but the parts, you know, $30,000 in parts, you know, and it was an insurance claim anyways, but,
Yeah.
you know, that was reimbursed to me. So I did receive financial money. That doesn't necessarily, to your point, mean you're making money.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can be a combination of a donation,
Yeah.
or it can be the full payment, you know, Keith, but at least there's a form that you fill out that say, you know, I did receive or I may receive because of my connection, so that can happen.
Yeah.
But this, in a public forum, it's a little bit different, so, private
I
institution.
just add to it, you know, again, I can see the pros and cons for this. and me and Beck had a really good conversation about it. I guess the thing that, and then maybe it's the lawyer in me, I get squeamish, I don't know what the unintended consequences, I don't know
I know.
all the various scenarios that this could apply to. That's where I get a little squeamish on things like this, so.
I agree with that. That's the other, like, you don't know you're handcuffed until all of a sudden you're in that moment.
We do have ethics, and
Yeah.
Leave it at that.
and we haven't had it, I
I don't
guess I'm
think,
indifferent,
we don't have a whole lot of
Oh, and
contracts
what
like
is it,
this.
you only need so many signatures to argue a point,
So we file an ethics complaint?
yeah, so, somebody could always do that if they wanted. Again, with ethics laws.
And this language is more of a financial, it's part of the finance. Obviously, we're talking about the finance section, but it wouldn't go anywhere else in the charter if it was taken out of the finance area.
Well, yeah, again, so this isn't currently in the proposed language, I pulled it from one charter, so it would go in the, I mean, I guess it could go in other places, but right now we're considering it for inclusion in the financial procedures article.
Sort of feel like it's,
A little too detailed?
yeah, there
Yeah.
might
Little
have
too
been
much
something
that,
that was
you know,
happening
I think
there
it's-
that
I
they
like
were
it,
trying to.
you like it,
open
but
charter
then it's,
right
yeah,
now,
but then
you know?
it's.
I think it's
can
the
of
size
worms.
of the town too, like, I mean, once.
Littleton is a big
Exactly. This
I
is
can
not a
think
city or a
of
big town that's
The one
really,
thing that I can think of, let's say the guy that does trash removal, Hubbage, who I have.
Yep.
Like if he was on the select board and then he wanted to bid to do one of, to be the provided trash collectors. I have my business with him, I'd rather have my business with a town person
Mhm.
than an outside republic or something, you know
yeah,
what I
some
mean?
big conglomerate or
Like,
something.
you know, so
don't
if
care
he's
about
on the
it.
select board and then he has to resign from the select board, just as use an example. You know, cause he can't bid on the town trash pickup
He has to
and he
recuse
lives,
himself
or yeah, and he lives in
somehow.
town. It
But-
just seems like,
This goes beyond that
It's-
recusal, right, Keith? You know,
right, it
this-
just seems
he's
like
automatic
you
gone.
wanna
you know?
use
this
a person
language,
that's
yeah.
in town and has a
Yeah.
business that you wanna use in town.
And that already is covered under ethics anyway.
Right.
He-
Right.
So we're leaning no is what
I,
I'm.
I,
Yeah,
I
that's
feel
what
so
I'm
too,
saying.
right? We all in favor of just scrapping this?
Yeah.
Don't-
Good discussion,
don't put it in.
certainly both ways, a lot of good points, but a little too tight, a little too tight.
So going down to the next one, which comes out of where, and you know, kind of recurring theme here on,
Did we skip 6-9, Salisbury?
I'm sorry, I skipped 6-9, it's the same financial public records thing as.
Okay,
what
the other
we
one,
talked about
yeah, it was just the
before.
date was different, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
um,
sorry.
no, that's fine. And then, so if you go down to the where 16-8, so this is kind of a recurring theme, so this is, again, expenditures in excess of the appropriation. This one is interesting in the sense that, so I'm a official, there's, I guess, an or like, it's anything, something happens and you expend, your department makes purchases or makes expenses beyond its appropriation. This section makes you personally liable for those expenses, where you have to pay back the town. And I think what's interesting here is this is not talking about fraud or anything like that. This is just saying that for whatever reason, and I can't think of any good examples unless you can, but you maybe, you know, you've gone beyond your department's appropriation and now you're personally liable. I actually think there could be some issues here around, like, if you're running a department, who's personally liable if the expenditure goes beyond the budget? Is it just the department head, or sometimes you have a person who purchases
Somebody
all
ordered too
supplies or
much
whatever?
toner.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if you wanna say anything about, because this is more functional, if you want to say anything about this section.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is, I would say this is unique language. I don't see this often in charters. I also haven't heard of very many instances where a town is holding its employees personally liable for budgetary expenses made in excess of appropriation in the absence of like malfeasance, right? Like somebody's stealing money, like that's a different issue, you know? This is just saying somebody's mismanaging their budget, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think to Anthony's point, you know, whose responsibility really is it, right? You have a select board, they have an executive authority, you know, you have a finance committee, they oversee the finance, you know, like it kind of gets down to like, you know, who, are you really gonna hold an employee personally liable for mismanaging, not with necessarily bad intent? I think bad intent is a separate situation. So I, you know,
new department head or something and they go over budget, but they have to, I can't even really think of a good example of.
Oh, I can think of a million of them.
I just,
And
I
this is,
kinda like it, cause it just holds you, it just makes you be more responsible. Like, oh, hold on, you know,
it puts the fear
instead of
God
just,
in them.
yeah, exactly, you know, oh my god.
So you have so many other checks and balances in place to make sure that that's not happening, like you have an accountant, you have a treasurer collector who's certifying that the funds are there, you have an
Yes, they're all
accountant
in
that's checking the
cahoots.
accounts. Well, I mean, but
Yeah.
again, being in cahoots is different, like, if you're in cahoots, if you're
This is like you're doing your job.
this is you doing
Yeah.
your job and
Yeah.
there's been an error or, you
Yeah.
know, you miscalculated something, you know. We're not talking about your, you know, your,
Something unethical.
yeah.
Do we
Yeah,
outline
yeah.
what official means anywhere in the charter? I would just need to, I'm going back, because this could be, you know, the head of one department telling the person under them to spend the money, and they make an appropriation that
Yeah.
they're saying, you
For
know,
instance, do
spend
we
this
really need
money.
$1,000 of toilet?
Yeah, right, and
I want
this
Michelle's job.
poor person says,
Buy a couple extra cases
Yeah,
of
I know,
these.
you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
And so now we're saying
see 'em
we're
on the
holding
Wachusett
this poor
website, you
person
know.
who like had to do what their boss said accountable, I don't like that.
It's just too ambiguous in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like it because of that, because there's no boundaries, no parameters here.
Yeah.
You
No
know,
offense where, but I wanna also know
You're
what was
just on the
happening
hook
there.
anyway.
I know, what happened, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, in a town where we have to work extra hard to get people to fill some of these, you know, paid positions. People do come and go a lot in the DPW positions, some of these other ones, making it any more restrictive or, you know, uglier, so to speak, to be honest with you, for that person personally. It just doesn't seem like a wise thing for us to do.
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of this personally, but I'll certainly go by a vote of the board, we can do whatever you want.
I'm gonna say no, there's no money anyway. What are they gonna spend?
Exactly.
Well, this is your, oh my god.
Like, I can see the
reserve funds
DPW
on
guy
the
buying
account,
parts for his
really.
tractor,
What
or his
did they
pickup
do?
That's what I
truck.
think
There's
this is.
always a
You know,
story
buying plow
behind it.
pots for his
You
truck.
What do you
Yeah.
think
As
that
you
happened
keep
anyway?
reading
Landscaping
it.
business,
What do
he's
you
buying
think,
mower
Becca?
blades, he's buying these
I
other
think
things.
something happened in
You know, under
there.
the cover.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I'm
this is a
saying.
reaction
Usually not talking
to
big
a
money.
specific
That's
circumstance.
No,
You catch him, you let him, you know, you can terminate him at that
I'm
point.
very intrigued
Yeah.
what's going on in all these other towns.
Yeah. All responsible officials shall request appropriations from the reserve fund when an account, like, wow.
I could see the town suing to get the money back, right, if that would.
Yeah, and again, at that point, no,
Well,
Keith,
yeah,
it's
but
how
that
much is
costs
it?
money.
You spend
You
it.
know, you're not gonna
more,
spend
get it.
50 to get 10,
No.
and maybe
Right.
half it at best, right?
You're right.
So you gotta prove it, so it's so hard to get, you know, go to court against somebody like
Yeah.
this. But if you know, so
And
obviously,
again, I just always I always keep in my mind when I look at that one, this is someone, the way it's worded, this is someone, they
Exactly.
become liable for us when they were just doing their job, like,
Right.
Scary.
like, you know, I'm at the senior center, I'm doing some programming.
that's not.
Somehow I bought something, I'm over my
Yeah.
appropriation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, in terms of going back after somebody, it's not like they built an addition to their house,
Yeah.
which would be a whole another
That's
ball.
That's what I'm reading this,
Yeah.
cause like, what, like, oh, no,
Just-
you're
I mean,
right,
this
you're
would be
right.
like, you know,
Yeah.
bumping into one of the other trucks in the DPW yard, and, okay, well, you're gonna pay for that bumper, Keith.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay, yeah.
I mean, that doesn't happen. You know, if you work in a construction company, you're smashing equipment all the time, those guys don't have to pay for the, you know, $100,000 excavator to get repaired because you blew the engine in the thing.
Yeah.
Just happened to my neighbor, she's an art teacher and accidentally ordered the wrong type of clay for a class that needs to be kiln fired, but it was like, I forget what she said, $300, $600 worth of clay,
They can't use it.
and they can't use it.
Well, you double click on Amazon.
Yeah, and if you
I
like
ordered
go over
10,
your
not 10
budget,
cases.
accidentally,
Yeah.
right,
I lost my
You're gonna
job.
make her accountable for it,
Right.
like, it does seem kinda wrong.
Trying to get the kids some clay.
$600, I mean, you know,
Even
to
just
me,
fire.
this is like,
Even
okay,
the
you had an
300
appropriation for
celebrations,
a
you're
fire
like,
truck
"Really?"
for $1 million and you bought a $2 million
Yeah,
fire truck.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Like,
Yeah.
you're
But
gonna be out
again,
of
in that
control here.
instance, like, the check and the balance, the town accountant is gonna be like, you don't have an appropriation for $2 million, we're not signing this contract,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know,
I don't
like,
think we need
yeah.
this.
Hopefully
there's a
enough
lot of
stops.
layers.
But the ambiguity with this could be $600.
It could be,
Yeah,
right,
exactly, right,
It could be a
it's-
couple cases of clay.
exactly.
Be a nice person.
Like,
next thing
you know,
know.
we need all
Do
the
our
town
job.
employees, don't town employees order extra clay, if you're listening, don't do that.
It's not this town, we
A
don't.
lot of fancy mugs around town hall.
And not to add too much further talk on it, I know every department proposes a budget, is supposed to kind of tell the select board how much money they need for the year. And so, I mean, there's that too, you
Yeah.
know, at least the town has a process to show where the money, what each department needs for the year, and then they go to town meetings.
So we're knowing now.
And Anthony, just, is that what some of these blue sections were in the
Yeah, so I'm
spreadsheet?
sorry, I should have clarified. So what we're going through are all the blue sections from the spreadsheet, and where the spreadsheet was structured is, they sort of align with what's in the proposed charter. The red sections were those other charters, they didn't have a section corresponding, just so you just know, how frequently some sections appear. And then the blue sections were sections that a charter had that don't correspond with what's, so we're just going through them and seeing if you always wanted to include any.
Okay, if you guys-
Which one was that one?
Remember this one that came out before last
That
meeting?
was last week.
Oh,
were-
So
right.
these blue
Yeah.
sections, well, these are kind of the outliers that really weren't very common, but, to Anthony's point, they might be something to review. So, good stuff. Thank him and Becca for putting that stuff out there for us to review.
Oh, and we just had,
One more.
this one's
Is there one
quicker,
more?
the last one's 6-9.
Sorry.
Internal departmental audit, no, Chris is go-go. The town manager may at his or her discretion request an internal audit of any department by an independent certified public accountant. I actually, again, not super strong opinion, but I don't think it's needed. Your town administrator section gives them full authority over managing.
I was gonna say, I thought we already had that in here,
Exactly, so they could, if
actually,
they thought they needed like a forensic audit or something, and they have the budget for it, they could do that and say, we wanna really put the hairy eyeball on this department for whatever reason.
And I don't think we have any departments, quite honestly, that large, where you have to bring in an outside independent auditing firm or, I think that's, I mean, they're gonna do that to the whole town as a whole, everybody, so that's gonna
Right.
get done every year.
Yeah,
But to really, if, you'd have to have a pretty big department to really get off the rails, pretty deep, into the 6-digit firm before you bring a firm
Yeah,
in
there
like
would have
this.
to be a real
Start spending
problem.
30, 50 grand to go audit somebody,
See, and then enter 6-8.
You're right.
I don't think it's appropriate or needed for this town, but it's something, it's not, as town grows, it's something to consider.
Those
so.
two things
Is
totally
where
something
a
happening
small-
where.
Yeah.
Right.
is
Another
Ware
10%.
a small town? I forget it.
I forget their exact number, yeah, there's.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
I
definitely.
think that's right, he's kinda
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
the first one seems like they had a problem internally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone was, I don't know, something was,
Which led to
someone
the
was just out of
second.
control,
Yeah.
foolish, or I don't know if it was malicious or not, it just seems weird,
Mhm.
But our town manager, our town administrator section says they can audit anyway, so why duplicate this?
Yeah.
And when I see that 6-8, sometimes, a lot of times in government leadership, you see people where one bad thing, somebody does just, one person, one rotten apple does something bad, and then everybody else that was abiding by the law has to go through this other process now.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, I just don't agree with that process. Just deal with the problem.
Yep.
Don't make everybody else suffer and have to go through all this bureaucratic baloney because one person was an idiot,
Don't take off our shoes at TSA, is that what we're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. So anyways, that's
Totally.
my
agree
opinion
there.
personally. Okay, so we don't want
But we don't
6-9
have to
either, right?
anymore,
Okay,
I think we're good.
all right, great, 6-9's out too.
Okay.
Alright.
So that's it for the sort of new sections. Mr. Whoever's monitoring the Zoom, I actually would like to share my screen for this next part, if I can. So I'm trying to join the Zoom. I don't know if the guy's watching.
Yeah.
Jake,
That's interesting, cause it says the host has not started the meeting.
Oh,
That's what happened to me.
Oh, that's probably why Barbara
That's
has it.
probably
Yeah,
why they
I
don't
could-
see you in the
'cause
meeting.
that's why I couldn't
So it
get
says on
that.
your computer, the host has not
I use
started.
a link from the agenda you sent out. I don't know if that-
And you're
is that the
on, right?
one? No, I'm not on yet. I'm trying to get in. I
Yeah,
just-
no, you can't
Oh.
get, that's why I couldn't
Cause
get
he
in.
hasn't started the meeting.
And
Well,
you know, it's funny
Maybe it's a
because
different link.
It might be a different.
I
link,
could
yeah.
join, my husband could get the meeting
reset.
online, he could see us, but I couldn't join.
Can the man behind the curtain hear us?
Because-
Jamie?
Yes, I believe is the man, Jacob,
It's Jacob.
is Jacob, if that's your
Sorry,
name?
Jacob,
Um,
Jacob.
The almighty Oz. Please, don't hurt us. Just double check and see if you've started the meeting.
Or if this is the right link.
Or if the link, the link on the agenda was the right link, or perhaps.
Yes, you remembered my name correctly.
Thank you, I'm sorry,
Thank you,
well, you're
Sandra.
pretty
I
fast,
clicked
Jacob.
it.
She gets all the credit on
I
that.
was gonna share something on the screen so everybody could see, but
Oh, okay.
this was from the email.
Yeah, so I
I don't know if
couldn't
it's in that
join.
meeting.
Oh.
Maybe that's why you couldn't get in, huh?
I couldn't get into the
Okay, that's
meeting.
what I got.
we could see the
Yeah, well, you
meeting.
told them.
So I had the
He said,
meeting
"No,
on."
Yeah, he said he's on there waiting.
Yeah.
He
The-
said
the-
nobody.
Oh, so you could just
honestly, the
watch
zoning
it
board
there.
never had a
And then
problem.
John said to
Right?
me,
I've never-
Anthony.
What's
said
that?
I've never had a
they
problem
are
with zoning board
seeing,"
meetings.
And I'm like, oh, this
With
must
this?
start.
With the
And I
Zoom?
came and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, they're sitting here.
Disaster.
They were, so they
Here.
were
That's me.
streaming,
I think it's
so
me.
he was able to
That's
see.
me.
You
That's
could
my-
even see,
my
able to
niece.
see it, but we
Yeah.
weren't, it kept on saying
Oh,
the,
technology, give me
oh,
a break.
here's the,
Trust
Oh, I
me.
got
Yeah.
you.
So I printed my
Has been
papers.
started.
He's got
Okay,
laptops,
no,
I'm like, what?
Paper
tried to
and
join
notes.
the-
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on
Works.
the.
He could
was
watch
listening
it
on
on
the
the
meeting,
Zoom.
log out,
Yeah,
log
he
back
could
in,
watch
join.
it.
Like
But
say
I
I
couldn't
created the meeting.
join
Yep.
it.
Just go to Zoom and type in the meeting ID.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're on
Zoom.com.
the meeting, you try to start it, but you're
Moderator's
not.
not letting us
So
You can't.
unfortunately, that is the right
That's
thing,
what I see a
and the
lot.
wrong thing. Oh, there you go.
837
And then he kept on saying.
87.
I don't, I just tap the blue words and if it works, it works, if it doesn't, it doesn't.
This is
It's
free,
like,
though.
sweet.
Like a-
Tap it faster and harder.
I know, it's like, okay,
And
whatever.
I zoomed in the last 2 minute meetings and I'm like, I have no issue.
While we're doing, they're trying to get the Zoom up,
So now-
really, as a committee, we talked about doing 2 more
meetings.
meetings perhaps in November.
Letting you in.
There you go.
So
Awesome,
maybe
we're
doing
gonna
one
make
next
sure that you can
Thursday,
go in, yeah, just
and
make sure.
then skip a week
Yeah,
and do, so I
absolutely,
believe
we're
it was
gonna make
the,
sure, just make sure that you're
6th and
muted
the
so that you
20th.
don't have any.
I think
Awesome.
we're gonna skip the third, so right now we'd be in line to do the 13th. but-
20th is town meeting.
Okay,
We can't do it that night.
alright. We'll just,
Good to know.
okay, so, and then the 27th is Thanksgiving, so
Oh,
that's
wow.
off,
Yeah,
so.
What was the 13th? That was a no because, well, it's
The
just a week,
third, the
yeah.
13th, yeah, we were just gonna, we were trying to get 2
Mhm.
in the week, so we could, you could do the 13th, I guess.
Does it have to be Thursday?
Well, that would be 3 in a row.
That worked for,
Yeah, we can,
or December 4th, yeah.
well, we'll talk to Anthony in a minute about how much work he thinks we have here. So I wanna set time to get the bottom line is trying to get the survey out before the holidays.
Yeah.
Or do we wait till after the holidays, but we're getting tight to get this to the town for the beginning of the year and.
Spring.
Yeah, Keith, well, I'm trying to keep pace at this point, try to keep pace with the agenda, the budget.
Yeah.
So that we're following
We
along
still
that
have
process.
to work on a survey and make it.
Exactly, so we
put it
still
out
got some work to do
this
here,
time, yeah.
it's November 1st, Monday.
Yeah.
We don't have to
wow.
rush then for the spring town meeting. I mean, we want to, but we have to get it on the warrant. We have to
Exactly,
get done and
and be
on
ready
the
by April
warrant,
1st,
yeah.
like with the budget, right, just going over that, that's what I'm kinda in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Guys, it's just trying to get that thing, so have all the town meetings to go through.
I'm okay if you wanna do the next
you
2
know,
weeks.
so-
I'm around, but.
Is what it is,
Do you guys wanna have this conversation, or do you wanna get into the next
let's
section?
get into this
We'll get it.
section.
Yeah, you're on
Yeah,
there,
'cause
yeah.
I thought it was gonna be easier.
Now that you're on there.
So what I sort of, let me just do this introduction, so there's a couple things, oh, you're not seeing what I'm seeing, okay. Oh, wait, let me.
See, you gotta read some emails.
Oh, man.
Don't make my hypertension go up.
Invert, delete.
So I think we're just gonna do, this isn't a super complicated section, but there's some unique things about it that I just wanted to sort of bring to the committee's attention. So, we're gonna get into what the administrative reorg section is in a second. I'm gonna show you some examples, but before we do that, just in terms of, of your comparators, we got about 8, obviously listed here. And so the green are communities where they have this section in their charter. Obviously, 2 of them don't, those are the red sections. And then the check marks are who has the authority to start, or be involved in the reorganization process. So, as you'll see, most communities have a role for the town manager / administrator, the select board and the town meeting. Some have just the manager and the select board, and 2 have just the town meeting engaged in the administrative reorganization process. Now, that probably doesn't mean a lot to you because you don't know what administrative reorganization is. But so our first example, and I actually forget which community this is.
So this would be under Article 8.
Yes, it's the next article in the thing. So, well, first of all, the other thing to keep in mind is that this section often has a lot of different things in it. Now, in the chart that you're looking at here, which I forget which community this is, it's just one kind of a short section, but I like it because it gets to the heart of what this is. Basically, who's got the power to abolish, create, and modify departments or agencies within the town government? So for example, do we merge our planning board and, not the planning board, do we merge our planning department and some other department to make maybe an economic development division? Do we, combine the
Public
entity-
Works is the most.
Yeah, Public Works or, things like that, where they're organizing the administrative structure in a way to ideally, I think, provide their services in the most efficient, effective way.
So something like the water and sewer department.
Exactly. And really think about it sort of independent of budget. If there's gonna be a budget impact, then obviously you go to town meeting, you have to go to town meeting. But it's generally, you're thinking about it in sort of a budget neutral way. You're gonna keep the same number of employees. You're just organizing people in a way that works better for your structure. So that's sort of why I started with this one, because it's kind of simply lays that out. So that's it at a high level. Now, some communities, I've got some examples here, they list, I don't wanna go too fast, but they've listed specific departments in the charter. We would not recommend that. The only sort of granular things in the charter are around what we already did, which is around elected boards. Other than, because the administrative organization section allows the town to make its internal structure any way it wants, you don't need to put in the charter. They will go through a process of sort of saying, here, we want to name this department this, or we want to restructure whatever. And there are really three primary ways. Well, I mean, there's any number of ways you can do it, but three primary ways in the comparator group to Rutland that people have chosen to do it. One, the town administrator says, I want to reorganize my departments for whatever reason, hopefully for something to make things more efficient and more effective. And they can then submit that to the select board and say, okay, we want to reorganize. The select board gets to review the reorganization plan within a certain time period. And then if they think that's okay, then they sort of stamp on it, and actually, it's done. It's done there. No further activity has to be involved. The other way is where you specifically state in the charter that the only way the town can be reorganized is if the town meeting passes a bylaw whereby the structure of the town is
Reorganized.
Yeah, exactly. And then the third way is really the hybrid way, which I think makes some sense, whereby you have one process that the executive can follow, whether it's the select board, but usually it's the town administrator, whereby they do the way that I described first, right? And some places require that to go to town meeting anyway, but other places allow just the town manager and select board to do it, but also have the path whereby the town meeting can do it by bylaw. And again, feel free to jump in here, Becca. My personal feeling is that while a reorganization can be scary for residents, it's really sort of a nuts and bolts day-to-day kind of thing, and while you do want to check and balance on it, I think that the evidence is mixed on how much everyday citizens really understand about the internal workings and how departments relate to each other. So I'm sort of be more in the camp of the, not necessarily super strongly, but I'd be more in the camp of you let your town administrator and select board do it. But if you want to allow a path to have the town meeting through bylaw do it, I don't necessarily know that I've seen that be abused, but I don't know if I've seen it used that often either.
This reminds me of discussion about letting the manager manage the TA be a TA.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna know better than the people doing the work, how best to do the work.
I agree with you, and I'm also considering, I just gotta ask you, this question to you two. Does the select board have to approve what the TA wants to reorganize? Is there a lot of that?
Well, there's not a law, I mean, you'd be set.
No, it's a check and balance, but
I think it's actually a good check and balance.
It is.
You want the TA to be able to do their job, but I don't think you wanna let them
Just do
whatever.
it.
That's too much.
do whatever, exactly. And Becca, feel free if you wanna add anything on this topic.
No, I would agree. I think, I mean, the select board is still the chief executive body, and they are
Okay,
sort of
yeah.
the check and balance.
point.
And, I'll just remind you that this is, an administrator and a select board could only reorganize without town meeting in the event that there was no monetary impact. Like, town meeting is the only body that can allocate funding. So if you're saying, we wanna consolidate DPW and we need $30,000 more because we want a public works director as opposed to highway superintendent, we need to pay them more, you have to go to town meeting and get the $30,000, and people are gonna say, well, why? And you're gonna have to say, because we wanna reorganize and restructure and consolidate public works. So it's not, that sort of legislative funding component still rests with town meeting.
So would some of this be more like, I want these divisions to all work out of the same building?
I don't think it's
Not
necessarily
even-
that, it's like, there are multiple divisions or agencies or offices, and we wanna make them one, or we wanna make them report to the same person, like the finance director, and you put all
Yeah.
of the financial people under this
Right.
finance director,
So
something like
instead
that.
of having a town accountant and a treasurer collector and an assessor who all operate separately and separately report to a town administrator, we wanna have a finance director who the town accountant reports to, the treasurer collector reports to, and the assessor reports to, and then the finance director reports to the town administrator. So you're sort of like restructuring.
Almost like creating that CFO position,
Well, like,
oversee all those.
Do they
like
get
we
rid of
created the
people?
regional,
One throat to
Safety.
choke is what we're doing.
You mean the fire department?
yes,
Yeah.
you know what I'm,
Yeah,
we
that-
created that, regional response.
Regional dispatch,
And we had to go to town meeting to approve that because
yeah.
it,
Funding.
That was a
It's
whole
funding.
major funding program.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So-
Restructuring,
well-
does that count cutting,
No.
like cutting positions, or does
Anything
that also
with a
go with
financial
funding?
impact like that
Okay,
would be,
okay.
I mean,
Well, I
obviously
mean,
you're,
like making it go up, yeah, but you're making,
Oh, cutting
You're-
positions.
you're
could
making
be,
it go
like-
down,
yeah, your town administrator's got the authority to fire people, but I mean, the restructure, I think the simplest way to think about it is,
Yeah.
whatever your org chart is, they get
Yeah.
to redraw the lines. That's
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
that's really like
Yep.
okay,
the simplest
okay.
way to think about it.
Gotcha.
Who's got the authority to redraw the lines, and should they go through some process?
So for instance, see how there's a facilities management division there?
Yeah.
Now, if the town just doesn't have that much public property anymore, there's really no reason to have this whole department, right? We can just have a couple guys out of the DPW go fix a couple lights and turn the heating system on. So we're gonna just put that division in with the highway division,
Mhm.
right? Consolidate those things.
Okay.
There's no real cost things, they're just kinda, only two guys are working that thing right now, just get rid of the position.
Okay.
And I'll just quickly, just because this actually section has a lot of variety in the way people have done it. So actually, this town doesn't have it. I don't think you really should be putting departments within this section. I think it really should just be who's got the power to restructure
Reorg.
departments, but
Or the town administrators.
yeah, but different communities have done, so I'm just letting you know that there's a number of ways in which people have done it. I see it more honestly in cities, not to disparage Rutland, but bigger communities. Some places wanna do administrative code. I actually think there's pros and cons to the administrative code. It can be a lot of work to put it together, especially to get it off the ground. But that's something that sometimes goes here. But those are really the main thrust of this section usually is who's got the power to restructure internally the government, the administrative part of the government, and what process should they go through, and then some of these other things have popped up as communities wanna address.
I think it should be, TA says, hey, I wanna do this, and the select board says, okay, in my opinion. I don't,
so the
I
towns
don't think you
that
should go to
don't,
town meetings, everything you should go to the town meeting?
No,
there's
I don't
enough,
think so either.
there's
and
enough.
the towns that don't have
Cause
this
nobody's gonna go to that
provision,
meeting anyway, so.
what does that work, how does that work out for them? Like, what happens if they wanna reorganize their departments?
I think that I don't have like consistent data, but anecdotally, it's an ad hoc kind of thing. Sometimes they'll go to town meeting, sometimes, I would say it's ad hoc. Like, they'll definitely go to town meeting if there's a budgetary question, and then there's, so like, the one that sort of pops in my head that's kind of in this category is like the merged treasurer collector. There's a state law procedure, so it kind of is all over the place in terms of where it starts. I don't know if you have any comments on that, in the absence of something in the charter.
In the absence of something in the charter, I think it has to go to town meeting.
Always,
Yeah,
okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
I believe. So this is, this would be expressly delegating what is town meeting's authority to the chief executive and the town administrator. simply the organizational component, not, again, not the financial component. That cannot ever be taken away from town meeting unless you change your form of government, which we're not doing.
So if we put something like this in the charter, it essentially does say to the town administrator, we're giving you this little extra bit of
Juice.
authority.
With the oversight of the select
So
board.
like, correct. So,
And the departments is listed under their section of what they oversee, so that kind of dictates their boundaries, so to speak, correct?
Mhm.
Like they can't really just go outside of someone they don't,
Like they can't get rid of the planning board, they can't
Yeah.
they definitely can't get rid of any elected
Exactly.
boards, stuff like that, yeah.
it's just a.
I like it because of the fact that I think in town we should be,
Able to reorganize?
well, our town
Streamline.
administrator should be able to, and I think we should be, doing everything we can to help make that position more, more,
Yeah, build a better team or
yeah, let that person know that
consolidate something.
we're,
I agree,
Autonomy.
I think
yeah,
A little
when
bit.
we're, yeah.
I agree, Michelle, you're giving that person a little more power and engagement in the position. We're also allowing the town to move quickly, to react to a changing environment quicker and
That's the only
and
reference I
keep
have.
themselves
That doesn't
nimble.
avoid a
Hold on, we need a meeting now, let's have a
Best they
meeting,
can.
yeah.
Yeah,
I can-
and it's a year process, or now a 6-month process
Yeah.
to try to change something, and it just, in today's world, it's awful slow.
Yeah.
I like
So
it,
react.
but the only concern I have is I just have concerns that people that are gonna read it are going to think that it's giving us like,
Too authoritarian.
Maybe not
yeah,
scare
too
people
much
away.
authority,
Oh,
like, you know what I'm
okay.
saying, that they're gonna say, oh, wait a minute, now they're saying the town administrator and the select board can reorganize, not understanding that there's no financial component to it. Like, I think it's great, but I just like think that
Well,
might
unless
be
you-
something that
It can
people
be
go,
stated, right?
this is our town,
Well,
it
it's
should
the
go to
law.
town, it
The
is.
financial component's the law.
Right,
Right.
but that's what, you know,
But I'm saying, I
It's
just,
gonna be us to
we could say
explain
that.
this.
coinciding with,
We could say that.
yeah,
And again,
yeah.
you could have, I just put it up here, you could
Yeah.
put two pathways in, there could be a town meeting pathway
Yeah.
and
I do like the town meeting pathway,
Yeah.
because it still gives, it's like being able to get your own article on the warrant.
Yeah.
You know, like, all right, the select board won't let me do it, but you know what? Let's get together, enough people do, they can get on there.
Yeah.
And again,
Can't they do that anyway? If they get enough signatures? Can't they?
reorganize.
correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
through a
Get
warrant,
something on the
yeah.
warrant.
Through the warrant, they could reorganize, right? They
Yeah.
could create a reorganizational warrant, article for the warrant, yeah. Yep,
Yeah, in many ways, that part is just codifying really
What they
you know,
can do
the town
already.
meeting is super powerful, so.
exactly, yeah.
You know,
You always have that ability.
exactly.
But to Barbara's point, that helps allow, it puts it poignant right there that, not just a TA can do it,
right.
that you can still, as a town person, still exercise
I
your,
just- I
your-
just
your-
can
your
see
God-given
from
rights.
this town, because we've been like a lot of turnover in the town administrator, that people would look at that and go, oh,
Be a
this
little more
person's
attractive.
been there a hot minute and they're gonna reorganize something, and
Yeah.
That's, I'm just kind of.
Isn't, that's what all managers do when they first come in, isn't it, you know, they paint,
Eyes aren't there long enough to do it.
you know, yeah, right?
But just an observation, I think it's great if you don't even have to go to the town meeting, but I do have concerns
Yeah.
that.
And overall, again, I think in a larger city or, a city or a larger town, there's much more structure and much more,
Yeah.
a lot more people can get caught up in it. And this town, as small and simple as we are, and limited resources financially, I don't think
I don't
this is a
see
major
this,
issue.
there'll probably be much reorganization having to occur.
This thing's down to the
You know what I
bone pretty
mean?
good
But
right
yeah,
now. There's not a
yeah.
lot of meat on this bone in town, so I don't know what you're gonna really
I know
reorganize.
the town
It's
has
lopping off body parts.
department head meetings, so I mean, if something drastic or a consolidation was coming up, they would probably be discussed a lot internally before it even.
Here, oh my god, yeah.
Well, I'm not allowed to go to a department head meeting, so I don't know what happens there, but, I mean, there's conversation between all these, say for example, what those departments were up there.
I mean, I would think that you'd be a poor town manager if everyone
Just
first saw this when you brought it to the select board.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say
Yeah,
that,
there's
say
other
that
issues
again?
at play there.
Yeah.
I think it was the first
Yeah.
time you ever saw it.
And you got a pretty poor select board if they go along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
now
there's
you're
a
looking
lot
at
of-
cahoots and whatever you describe.
So what would be the wording that you would suggest?
Well, you know what, for your next meeting, what I'll probably do
Come up with
is I'll
something?
we'll pull something together from all of these ones here. I guess from you guys, I'd be looking for guidance. Do you wanna have the two routes spelled out, which you just, and again, also, the select board, the manager to the select board, some communities have also this town meeting in that, saying that it doesn't become effective until the town meeting votes on it, so they insert them. So I'm, if you want me to,
I don't think we want that.
okay.
I
so-
think we want, I mean, just correct, let me just frame this up and let me know what you think. But we want the town administrator just to be able to propose something to the select board blesses it, it's done. It's been reorganized. Then there's also the way that citizens can go through the town meeting and, you know, get their article on the warrant to do their thing and let the town vote on it. Those two options.
Seems fair.
Yeah.
Do you wanna add language to the first option about, you know, subject to any appropriation by town meeting? So it
Okay,
it
that's
Yeah.
excellent.
It reinforces
Good
that the
idea.
Yeah,
financial
that way people
component
don't get their
and
panties in a
power
bunch,
still
yeah.
rests
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
the legislature.
Yeah.
Lets them know the
So they
financial
know,
side
they
is
know
managed.
it's not like, oh, we're
And
just gonna
unless-
We're not
reorganize.
releasing
Yeah,
that, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
Even
just,
though
we're
not.
just saying this department and this department join together.
yeah,
And then it also helps, if there is a financial component, it helps it move quicker
Right.
forward, you know, just to get that in, boom, through on the.
That's great.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, cause I think if somebody's reading it, they're gonna say, okay, well, we
Yeah,
understand
great
what this
idea.
means now, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
you know, so.
okay, great.
So that's really it for us, in terms of what we had for today's meeting.
All right. Well, that was a lot of good information, a lot of good stuff. You got good direction from us there with everything. And the only other thing I just wanted to discuss was the November meetings. Anthony, with the amount of sections we have left to do, how much time do you think we will have on those? How many more meetings we should, you know?
I think, and again, I don't wanna jinx anything.
No, I know.
Cause you're making
Anything can
good
happen.
progress.
but,
But, I generally assign like maybe 2 meetings to each section, so I'm assuming, again, my experience, everybody has lives, so I'm assuming you guys are probably gonna slow down, wanna spend time with your families as we get into November, December. So I would think that we'd get through the remaining 4 articles by maybe late January, of next year. That's what sort of best guess, what I would say.
Okay, so let's use that. So if we get through this by the end of January, let's say. And in my mind, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it would be nice to have this charter pretty much all reviewed with town people, surveys, like by April 1st. Almost in time with the budget to go in line with the town meeting. I mean, I think we have a little more time if we needed it, but let's leave that cushion and contingency in there. If we're done at the end of June, that gives us February, March to muscle through town meetings, surveys. You guys feel that's enough time to do that?
What I would just sort of add to that, so I think we'll have been through everything, you guys will have had your input on sections that you want. That's what I'm saying by the sort of
By the end of
mid to
January?
end of January. We do, what we usually do, like a final walkthrough, like one meeting, we were halfway done, you guys kind of had a meeting to yourself to just look at it and just think about it, make sure you all understood and all this stuff. So I would recommend sort of that, so that's like January, February. And then you're planning another public hearing session this year, so we will have that input, so,
Well,
yeah.
at the end of this,
Yeah,
when we
so
get through all these.
January or whatever.
When we get through these last 4 articles, I mean, again, we put the survey out there, got the feedback, have the public meeting at that point, collect all of that data through survey and town meetings, and then come back and put the final dressing on this.
Yeah, so I would think you'd really be done in terms of working with us and stuff, in terms of doing the meat of the document by February. Now, you also wanna write a report based on your minutes and all that stuff, put together just a cohesive document to accompany this, to say, here's how many times we met on the charter.
Okay.
Here's sort of why we made some of the decisions that we made. I think you've made some, but not many deviations from what's already going on. I don't think there've been many changes from what's already happening. But you just wanna document those that can accompany this document when it goes to town meeting, so people know why you made certain decisions, as well as can see the document. So I would say, depending on how you divide that part up, that might take a few weeks for you guys to sort of put that. I'll be honest, I can give you some examples of good ones are not very long. They're not, you don't wanna try to write a book about it.
Yeah, no,
Really
short
good
and
ones are
sweet.
like charts or like a spreadsheet saying, we did X, Y, or Z. I can send those to you. So this document will be done again, I think with reviews and everything, by early February, then you're probably gonna spend a month putting together your final report or so. In the midst of that, where you're about to go in terms of public outreach, I think you can be doing that parallel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So, I mean, do we just, well, we got town meeting on the 20th, you got, do we wanna stick with Thursday nights, number one? That seems to work, I hate to change if we don't have to.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So,
Just if you wanted to squeeze one more in, that's all.
yeah, I mean, we got, so you have the 6th or you have the 13th. I may have a conflict on the 13th.
I have a conflict the 13th, I'm working. Oh, no, I'm working the 6th.
You're working the 6th.
I literally just wrote it down. Yeah, I'm working the 6th.
Is it Harwich
But-
on the
oh, we-
6th? It's not in my calendar.
We could go the 13th, if I can't make it, I can't make it, you guys fine without
That's
me.
what I thought.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm working.
thought we'd
the 13th.
switched
My-
off
The rest,
Okay,
my schedule only goes to,
I'm fine
Harwich
with
is
either
next
date,
week.
so.
yeah.
Harwich is meeting tonight. They're
I
meeting-
mean, I could come, but it, again, it would be.
and then do you wanna just do,
Yeah.
so if we do the, let's just use the 6th or the 13th right now, one for November, boom. And then we do one in early December with a potential, kind of review meeting, or what I'm thinking in my head is if there's 2 meetings to get through these last 4 articles with Anthony and Becker, and then we have time just before the holidays, maybe for a short meeting in December, a second one in December, just to frame up the surveys, prepare for public comment, things like that, but possibly, and then, I don't wanna kill you in December or anything like that, but then after the holidays in January, we can crack off a couple more meetings if we need to, or whatever, continuing on things, reviewing this, writing reports and doing things like that, public meeting sessions, whatever we dictate those 2 events in January should be. Does that sound like a next couple, 3-month layout, so to speak?
Did you say, Anthony, 2 meetings for each section or 2 sections a meeting?
I'm sorry, I usually budget sections to at a minimum cover about 2 meetings. So like this was our first meeting on the
Okay.
admin org and.
All right.
So we need about
So we-
8 meetings.
So we need,
Yeah,
yeah,
For the
Right,
next
that's
one.
too
so we're gonna need
Well,
4,
6
we're gonna need
anyway.
4 meetings for these 4 sections.
Yeah, these are small, these are actually the smaller, more
Okay.
like,
The gross stuff is done,
Simplest.
the
yeah.
long
exactly.
gross stuff is
Yeah,
done.
you guys did the harder stuff way earlier.
There you go.
Well, all right, let's just keep it simple here. Let's just plan out the next one.
Yeah.
The 6th or the 13th, what do you wanna do?
We will not be, we will be in another committee on the 6th, just
Okay.
FYI. Yeah.
So plan for the
you need
13th?
a week or 2 weeks, but yeah, if you're not gonna be available, then yeah.
But you're not here on the 13th.
I might not be, I might not be.
Is there a
Same.
better day for you that works that week? And everybody else? I mean, you're our leader.
What about the 12th?
Wednesdays, cause I don't have anything, the zoning board is the only other thing I do on Wednesdays. No, I could do the 12th.
I could do the 12th too.
I can't do the 11th, I have a meeting on the 11th, but I could do the 12th.
Let's
I'll
do,
be here for the events committee the 12th, I could just meet in the back.
let's do the 12th.
I don't know which one's more important.
Does the 12th work for you two, or is that a problem? Wednesday's a problem?
I can do 12.
You might have a problem booking this room on the 12th. Cause we already had to move, the events committee we already got bumped for the planning board. Do you guys have a meeting?
On the 12th?
Yeah, we got bumped for somebody.
Maybe because the 11th is Veterans
Must be.
Day.
Sorry.
The 11th is
It's
Veterans
because
Day.
of, that's why, it's because of Veterans Day's the
Veterans Day.
11th.
Oh,
That's right, yeah, that's right,
Veterans
yeah.
Day, yeah.
You're right.
So you got bumped.
Check your
Can't
email,
use-
you guys got bumped.
No,
We
just-
got
I know
bumped
about it now,
to
so
accommodate you all,
Let's
so,
just shoot for the 13th, all right?
okay,
I mean, I'm 50-50, it
Yeah.
may not happen, so.
I'm the same, I'll just,
So shoot
I
for-
could
that works for
Zoom,
you
I could
too?
Zoom from work. That would
Becker,
be
Anthony,
fine.
that works, the 13th's good for you?
First, yeah.
It's 2 weeks, it keeps on our schedule.
Yeah,
If I can't make it, whatever, you guys be fine for. I'll crank it right out.
Well, are you saying to have a meeting even if you're not here, just we would, okay,
Yeah.
you sure?
I'm
Wanna be
totally
here for that
confident,
stuff? Okay.
I'm totally confident you guys will keep them moving along, guys in the net,
Train
Savage right here.
going.
And if,
Okay.
Do you wanna
Tony
pick the
shows up.
next one while we're here, just so we can all sort of plan out our,
the 13th,
and
Or
then
the
the
one
one
after that.
after that, just so we can kind of plan out our holidays,
It would end up being the 4th.
4th.
yeah, dude, there's only 3 weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas,
It's late
that's
this
nuts.
year.
Time
how does the
Is it?
4th look for you folks?
I can do the 4th.
I can do the 4th.
I'm blank, I wonder if somebody sent this.
Just so in case we
How the hell?
end up
I know, know,
What,
it's like,
how's it
what?
Christmas
It's almost
already?
2026, brother.
It's amazing, yes.
You're another year
Fourth
older.
of July, and Christmas, that's it, like, boom, that's.
I'm good for the 4th. Yeah, so 13th and the 4th, alright?
That way we
Just
know
keep
what's.
pragging through these articles and we'll see where we go from there. I'm getting maybe a little over my ski tips here, so let's
This part of the year, I see it all
It's
the time,
tricky.
people are ambitious, but then life gets in the way of
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
meetings and stuff, yeah.
December's brutal, it's a brutal month.
The whole fall has been, it's been hard to focus on this. Play sports, they said, none of the kids play sports. Hockey.
Okay,
Well, hockey, forget it, that's a testament to you.
Four nights a
Yeah.
I only had one, so it wasn't that bad.
I had nerdy children, so it worked out well for me.
4 nights a week
Math
plus
team-
cross-country
math-
plus
math
soccer.
okay, we'll get these booklet to Mika, you guys are good for those
Competition
dates?
doesn't happen.
Alright, do we have a motion to close this, close the hearing?
Motion.
Motion.
Second, first and second, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any- No nays? Unanimous, closed.
I think it's good to be in person with you.